Hello, welcome to scr1tno Knitting Project podcast. My name is Sharon and I'm coming to you from Surrey in the UK, where I live with my family, 3 cats and a dog. Today is Saturday the 25th of April 2020 and this is episode 53. Welcome if you are a new viewer, thank you for checking my podcast out. Welcome back if you're a returning viewer, thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all safe and well. It is a beautiful sunny day here today, so hopefully the lighting will be a little bit better than last week. I apologise, it wasn't great, was it? I am up in my craft room and behind me here is a brand new office chair. Now my lovely middle daughter is using my craft room as an office during the week, and she got an office chair because quite frankly sitting on a wooden chair for all that length of time wasn't great. The problem I've got is it's so comfortable, I love it, but I swing. So I'm going to try really hard not to do that during the podcast. Anyway, let's get into it and start off with admin. Admin. So the podcast has a Ravelry group. It's scr1tno Knitting Project. We have 2 knit alongs currently running. One is going to finish at the end of this month, which is a shawl along. So if you've been joining us and knitting on some outstanding shawl whips and you get it finished by the end of the month, pop it in the chatter thread and we will have a chat about it, and I will draw some prices from there. It will only be a pattern price this time around just because of lockdown. We're not going to the post office unless we have a reason to do so, which at the moment we don't. And also there's the square a day cow, which is where we are knitting a square a day on a cozy memory blanket, or we're crocheting a stripe on a granny stripe blanket. There's a Tunisian crochet square blanket which is absolutely gorgeous, which my friend Sophie from the Spring Snowflake podcast, go check her out, is doing, and yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, please do join in. I've also got a couple of threads up for quarantine chat, so we're just sort of trying to share stories. I've been absolutely awful about keeping up with it, but I had a busy week again. But yeah, so come and say hi, come and join the podcast, the Ravelry Group. There's lots of lovely people in there. I absolutely love my Ravelry group. And even if I don't always chat in there, I always go in and read everybody's comments. So I'm just going to run through my comments from last week. I'm not going to read them all out because you've all left lovely long comments. It's really sweet. So Brendy, who was our winner of our first check-in for our square a day, chose the understated, which I'm wearing my one today, jumper as her price pattern, and she started knitting it, and if you go and check out the isolation thread, there is a little picture of it. Such a pretty colour, love it, it's really lovely. So I'm hoping you're enjoying it and it's all going okay. I think if you haven't seen, I've left you a comment about the sleeves on the pattern. The sleeves, if you've got super skinny arms, and even if you have got super skinny arms, they decrease really rapidly. And I knit one from a friend of mine for her daughter, and the sleeves were minute on it by the end of it. So with my one, I haven't done any decreases at all in my sleeve. I've just literally knit the sleeve, and then I went down a needle size for the rib. But yeah, because the sleeves are quite fitted, at least they are on my arms. I mean, obviously I have bigger arms than most, but even so, just watch the sleeves. Helen, I love the vlog at the end, obviously the podcast too. You have 3 cats as well. Since I'm swinging, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop. Yeah, it's insane having 3 cats, but I adore all 3 of them. Not that I'm calling you insane, Helen, I hasten to add. I'd love to see a tour of your craft room. I will try and get that sorted. It's a bit difficult with Charlie working up here all week, and also she works quite late as well, so by the time she's finished I've lost the light. So I'll try and do it. I might do it tomorrow actually, to be honest. I'll try and do that tomorrow for you. Oh, hold on, I've got I hope this isn't too personal a question. So this is Helen still. Why have you got a £5 note pinned up in your kitchen? That's a lesson to us all. Anybody else got a money box? Anybody else not checked it for a while? Anybody else remembered that we've changed £5 notes recently? So it's currently glued to the door in the kitchen, so that the next time somebody goes to a bank, which is not going to be any time soon because we're in lockdown, they take the £5 note with it and change it for one we can actually spend. So that's why it's stuck to the kitchen door. That door in my kitchen we use as kind of a communication board, which admittedly we don't need to do at the moment. But if we need to leave notes for each other, we tend to stick them on there. It's the boiler. It's not actually the boiler cupboard anymore. It's the old boiler cupboard. It's now kind of a pantry and where we stick all the big things that won't go anywhere else. So it tends to get used quite a bit. So if you want to communicate with someone, just stick it on the door. So that's why there's a £5 note attached to my door. Sophie. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Sophie of the Spring Snowflake podcast. She loved the rave tent. Yeah, that was cool, wasn't it? Bless them. They had a nice time out there. I think they're going to do it again. I'm convinced you to look at the northeasterly again. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to enable you for another blanket. But having said that, it's such a lovely knit. It's so soothing. And I'll be honest, I have to restrict myself. Otherwise, I would knit on it all the time. You just literally have, oh, I've used this many. I use this many. I'm sorry. Ginny. Hi, Ginny. Oh, bless you. Yeah, just for the good of the economy. Ginny's going to buy some nice pastel yarn for the good of the economy. Absolutely. And the good of your mental health. If that's what you want to do, honey, you go for it. Jean. Hi, Jean. Yeah, keep on knitting things that make you happy. I'm actually back on project, but a different project. I'll explain as I go along. You need another Brunswick tea? Yeah, absolutely. If you've got a favourite, I mean, you know, I'm knitting another one of these, and I've definitely got another one planned afterwards. So I'm going to inspire everybody to knit and understated at the rate I'm going, aren't I? But they're so nice to wear. I washed this one yesterday and blocked it because it's such a lovely sunny day here yesterday. So it got washed and dried in a day, which was lovely. Right, so that's it, the comment. So we'll get into the actual podcast proper. Now I'm like, what am I? Something like 8 minutes in. I haven't actually shown you any knitting yet. I will do, I promise. I have gone back on a rolling rotation of whips. So if you're new here, what I do is I have a 6-day rolling rotation of whips. It's over 6 days, not 7, because on some days I'm busier than others. So for instance, on a Tuesday, normally I do guides. So I have a lot less time to knit in the evenings on a Tuesday than I do, say, on a Friday, which is my day off. So if I always had the same thing on the Friday and the same thing on the Tuesday thing would never get finished. And the Friday I would be changing all the time. So it rolls by 6 days. So that's the idea behind it. At the moment, yes, most days are the same. We have had a couple of guide meetings. We had a guide meeting and a browning meeting, but that was on the same night. Which we did via Zoom, but I can knit while I'm doing those, so they're great. I'm enjoying those. So I'm going to explain as I go along what the change is. It's only a very minor change, but it's enough to make me happy with my rotation. So let's get into it, and I will start with day one. So day one is socks, and I have got a couple of projects on the go. The first one is living in my lovely purple bag by Busy Pottery. And you've seen this one. These are my Lavender Mint Twisted Lemone socks in this gorgeous colourway, which I absolutely adore. And I've had a few comments about this. Lots of people like this. Now, I don't know whether she's doing any dyeing at the moment, but she doesn't particularly do updates anyway. So if you message her, she might very well be doing it. Just drop her a message. One of those, if you don't ask, you don't get. So this is the first sock, which I absolutely, completely adore. I love this. I can't wait to get it finished. I'm hoping I'm going to have enough left to make some shorty socks so I can wear it during the summer as well. And why is this all ends? It's only got 2. I was there last week where that lovely Progress Keeper is. That Progress Keeper is from West Green Loft Yarns, and it's her Gypsophilia one. And I went from there and I've done the heel flap, done the heel, and I'm now on the gusset decreases. So it's just a plain vanilla sock. I do mine on 60 stitches on a 2.5mm needle. And I use 2 circulars, which are, these are 2 licky circulars, which I had an extra bonus because when I got this sock whip out, because this has been around for a while and I haven't worked on it, there was 2 more needles in there, so I thought, oh, more sock needles. So yeah, I love that. Lovely mindless knit, and now I'm past the heel flap and I'm just on the gusset decreases. I can use that while I'm on Zoom meetings, etc., and I'm just knitting the round. Now on Thursday, when I had my Zoom meetings with brownies and guides, I was on the heel turn, so I didn't feel I could really do that whilst chatting to them, so I grabbed my understated out, because that is a giant sock at the moment, and knit on that instead. However, that is really tangled, so that's going to be interesting when I get it out of the bag. And the next thing is a new cast on, and it's living in my Elderflower Stitches bag. And this, in this lovely yarn, which is made by penguins. So I have the, yes I do. So it's made by penguins. It doesn't seem to have a name. There's no name on it. But I bought this yarn at the Waltham Abbey wool show, and the idea is to make shorty socks for my middle daughter. And I have started this one. Now this pattern, can you see down the front there? There is a pattern. There we go. This is the Ness point sock pattern by Laura of the Lonely Knitter podcast, and I had the honour of test knitting this during the summer last year. Really enjoyed the pattern and absolutely wanted to make some shorty socks with it, so I have used her pattern for this, and yeah, absolutely love it. I've done a twisted 1x1 twisted rib cast on and heel flap. Again, 2.5mm needles, not matching pair because they are Knit Pro Symphony and they are a Licky, but they're 2.5mm. So I am racing up. I don't think I've got too much to go actually now before I put the toe on, to be honest. That's nearly at the toe. That's the first one. So I'm really pleased with those, and they are going to go to my middle daughter when I get them done. I've just noticed I have the other Licky. Why? Why would I do that? So that's the Symphony, and I have that spare. So why have I not used the matching pair? Oh dear, I'll sort that out when I have a moment. But that the Ness Point sock pattern's a lovely pattern to knit. It's very intuitive, it's really easy. You can read your knitting to know which row you're on. So it's lovely to do, and I wanted, because I did the full length ones, if I can get technical I'll try and put a photo of them up there in a minute, during the summer to test knit them, and they were such a lovely pattern I wanted to do them again, so I'm really pleased I've got those on the go. So that is day one, socks. So day two is shawl day, and that is hanging out in my Dorothy bag, which is Bags by Donna, and was a collaboration with Knit Style Yarns. So this came from the States. It had a matching skein of yarn, but I haven't knit the yarn yet. That is not what's in here. And I am doing, whoops, the Fuss Free Festival shawl by Louise Tilbrook, and this is a Knit Circus Yarns Impressionist colour wheel, for want of a better word. So as you can see, I have almost gone through the purple on the outside. Almost. I was trying desperately to get all that purple finished before the end of the day, but it didn't happen. So I was there last week when I showed this to you, and I have now gone into the blue. I'm really enjoying how this is sort of fading. It's almost a fade without having to worry about it. And I love knitting on this. It took me a couple of tries at ripping out and restarting to get the needle size I liked the gauge of, and I've settled on a 3.5mm. Again, these are Licky needles, or Leica needles. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. Or Luca needles, I think I've heard as well. But yeah, so this is the Fuss Free Festival shawl, which is a pattern by Louise Tilbrook, and is a asymmetrical triangle. I struggled with that last week, and is a very easy tele knitting pattern. I've put, there is something that happens at the end. I'm not going to give out too much because it's a paid for pattern, but there's something that happens at that end, and there's something that happens at that end, and at the same end on the back there's something that happens. So I put the stitch marker on so that I know which is the back and which is the front, and I've put those two on so I know which are the two ends I need to do something with. But once I've done that, you don't need to really look at the pattern, you just carry on. It's supposed to have a picot edge bind off, but I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that because this is designed for a certain weight of yarn, like 100 grams. I've got 150, and it's a, once you've got X amount left, do your picot bind off. So I'm going to need more than the X amount, so I may just carry on and just do a plain bind off, which is a shame because I do like the picot, but we will see what I want to decide to do at the end. But, I mean, I could always just carry on and just cast off in a contrasting colour. That would work. I'm giving myself ideas. But I do like it. I think I'll wear this quite a bit. I like my little one, so I think if just a bit bigger one would be perfect. So if you want a really good one skein shawl, the Fuss Free Festival shawl is a really good pattern for it. Right, so that's day 2, shawl day. So day 3 is garment, and that is living in my Thorn Dolly bag, which is a lovely bag with this cute little button feature on the front. And this is going to be a little bit of a mission to get out of its bag because I've managed to twist the yarn around the handles. Bag! I've got them untangled now. So these are my last 2 balls of yarn that I've got. I've just wound this one up. You can see there's a little bit of difference on this one, so helical knitting is a good thing to do with this. And so I'm doing helical knitting, which is a technique that I learnt from Grace of the Babbles Travelling Yarns podcast. Please do go check her out. Where you alternate 2 balls of yarn, but you don't get a line where you alternate, which is fantastic. So this is my understated. It's got a neck, it's got arms. You see, they're my arms. And I'm just going round and round on the body. It's a giant sock stage. So last week I was where that stitch marker is, which is there. And I am now down here. So it's supposed to be 40 centimetres on this length side here, and this is 25, I think, so I haven't got too much more to go now. So I've knit probably a good 5 centimetres, I reckon, on there this week. Absolutely love it. Just going round and round in circles. I mean as much enjoying knitting this as I am looking forward to getting the finished article. So this is one of these, whether you're a process or a project knitter, and I am very much a process knitter because I think that's why I have so many whips, because I enjoy the process, not as worried about the finished object. But certainly with this, because I love this one so much, I cannot wait to get to this to wear, so I've got more than one to wear. So definitely both on this, definitely both enjoyed, loved doing the process, and really looking forward to wearing the project. So yeah, that's my understated. Now this is a pattern by Hokey Locatelli. Mine is from Interpretations Book 6, but you can buy it as a standalone pattern now. Interpretations Book 6 is a pattern book that Hohi does with Vera Valimaki, and there are some really lovely patterns in there actually. But I love this pattern. I'm so enjoying using it, making it. Yeah, so that's day 3, garment day. So day 4 is crochet day, and that's hanging out in my fondant fibre bag, which I absolutely love. And it's very appropriate at the moment because it says knitting soothes my soul, although it's got crochet in it, but we won't go there. So this is my squares for my Christmas crochet blanket. That's fondant fibres. Now I am making a granny square blanket of 5 rounds of reverse granny square, which is what my name for it is. I don't know if that's actually what it's called, but it's when you go, you do a round, and then when you've done your change you stop and go back the other direction, so you get some very square squares, and these are the ones I've done this week. Now the first 3 are all the same colour, so that's the end of the mini that I was doing in that colour, and now I've just gone into this colour. It's really pretty. This reminds me, I don't know why, but it reminds me of Whoville. I don't know why it reminds me of Whoville. The only thing I can possibly think of is I think lovely Lisa from Fibre Nymph Dye Works has a Whoville colourway, and I think it's very similar to this. That could be the only reason why it reminds me. But in my mind, Whoville is a Christmas because it's the Grinch. Therefore, this is a Christmas colour. So that's that one. So I've got a few of these done because lovely Meggie, my youngest, wanted to learn how to cook a roast dinner at the weekend, and I just sat and crocheted while she cooked, which was great. So I got quite a few. Well, I got 4 done. 1, 2, 3, 4 done. I don't expect to get quite that many done in a week, but this is the current mini I'm using. It's really pretty, isn't it? I don't know whose it is. Honestly don't know whose it is. It's very soft as well. It's almost like it's a lace weight. It's really thin. It's really thin. It's really soft. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I am using a Clover 3mm crochet hook to do these. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with them once I've made them all. They're obviously going to join somehow, but I haven't worked out how I'm going to join them, what I'm going to join them with, or what order I'm going to join them in, but I'll worry about that at the end. So yeah, that's my day 4 crochet day. So day 5 is a new segment. I used to use it for my mystery blankets, but at the moment I am not touching that. So I have decided that day 5 is going to be Resurrect an Old Whip Day. Now the very observant amongst you will have actually spotted what this might be, because I finished a pair of socks, and they are the Jelly Roll socks for my middle daughter. These were supposed to be an Easter present. I never got around to going, well, I just didn't want to go back to them, if I'm honest. So I got the mojo back. I wanted to get them finished, and I have. So this is the Made by Penguins blue yarn with an opal cream, contrasting heel, toe and cuff. And I'm really pleased I've got this finished, so lovely Charlie can actually have these now. But they, as I said, these were supposed to be for Easter, but I missed. So I'm going to make her those, and I'm going to make her the Ness Point ones as a little set, and I will give them to her when I finish the other ones. But these are washed, these are blocked, and these are finished. So my idea is on day 5 I'm going to work on an existing whip. I don't care which existing whip it is, I'm just going to work on an existing whip. It could be my Bits and Bobs blanket, it could be my Stitch in Time blanket, it could be my Battenberg blanket. I have too many blankets. It could be anything. It could be my Friendship crochet blanket, anything like that. Might be my Ingrid's sweater, anything I fancy on that day of my old whips I'm going to work on. So you could see some very funny things in this segment, but I'm really pleased I've got these finished because, you know, Charlie actually deserves these socks, bless her. She's working so hard at the moment. So that's day 5, Resurrect an Old Whip Day. I really need a difference. Come on guys, rename that segment for me. Yep. Leave comments down below what I can call day 5 from now on, because resurrect your old whip day is not going to fit on the screen. Okay, that's day 5. So day 6 is scrappy day, and I am still on my northeasterly. I love my northeasterly. Now this is hanging out in a rope yarn bowl from our lovely moderator Katie, who is made by Mrs. H. That's her lovely tag, and I love this. It's a perfect size. It just looks gorgeous sitting there looking at me going, knit me, knit me, knit me, because this is all I want to knit. So where are we? We are on the 3rd stripe at the moment. Strip. I keep doing that. Strip. It's a strip, not a stripe. So my 3rd strip. So my first one was a Sherry Iris strip, which is this one here. And then my second one, which is this one in the middle, is Hedgerow Yarns. And that is not where I was last week. That's I haven't moved that. I'd finished that last week. I was in the bottom of this bit, and I was about there last week in this section. And this is down Sheepy Lane, and I've done that bit and I'm up to there. I mean, I haven't made a huge amount of progress on this week, but that is just because I've had a busy week. I'm also reading a book at the moment, and that's taking up some of my time. And although I can knit and read at the same time, and I do frequently, I go wrong on this if I do that, so I have to be a bit more careful. I have to count up from time to time, because apparently my ability to concentrate to count to 15 is limited. Isn't that pretty? I do like the colours for this stripe. So this is down Sheepy Lane, and these are some minis that I got for Easter, either last year or the year before, one of the two. I love this project. I really love this project, and it's hanging out in a needle cozy from Craft House Magic. I need to put that back on because it will. I'm just using some tiny little needles. These are 2.5mm, and they are Knit Pro Symphonies, and these are lovely. They are seamless, absolutely seamless. They're such nice needles, which just goes to show you do not need to spend a fortune on needles. These are lovely. No worries with these at all. They're fixed, they're not interchangeables. There's no snags on the leads, on the cord. The cord is a nice short cord, which is a perfect length for knitting this on. They're lovely, absolutely lovely. So I've got the other two strips on hold on needle holders, because I will probably make this longer, but that gives me the option to, or just to cast off depending on my mood. So yeah, that's day 6, scrappy projects. Next up is my cozy memory blanket. Are you sick of this yet? I'm really sorry. That's hanging out in a seaside bag from Busy Pottering. I love this bag. If I ever beg Anne to come out of retirement, because she's not making them anymore, to make bags, I want another one of these because I love this. I absolutely love it. Right, so here we go. I have done really badly with my square a day, because that's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There's no Saturday. I didn't do it this morning. I need to get back to doing this a day, and the two of those I did 2 on the same day. So this is down Sheepy Lane, this is down Sheepy Lane, that is down Sheepy Lane, that is from my friend Katie, our moderator. So I'm not too sure who the dyer is, but it's very pretty, as is that one, and as is this one. I'm not too sure about the wisdom of putting those 2 squares together actually. I don't colour manage my cozy memory blanket at all. I really don't. But when I did that, I did sort of think, oh, that probably wasn't the best idea, because they're very variegated. I might try and make sure this one's a plain one. But there, that's my cozy memory blanket, and it's coming on. It's almost too big to hold up now. I think I still am ahead of the game. because I knit a few. I think I was like 6 squares ahead, so I'm probably about 3 squares ahead now. But I do need to double check that. So when in a couple of days time, when I square off, I'll do a count up of how many I've got. And I think I worked it out. It's another 91. I had to work that out twice though. It's another 91 square quarter, which seems really weird, bearing in mind that February only has 29 days, but it does work out. It has something to do with the fact that March and May has 31 days, and you know, June has 30. So yeah, it's a 91 day quarter. So add the two together, it's 182, I believe, for the next check-in. So it's 182 squares need to be done by the 30th of June. Now there is a little bit of a leeway there because I don't close the thread until like halfway through the following week. So when is the 1st of June? Let's have a look at. Yeah, let's have a look at 30th of June even. Get my head in the game. So the 30th of June is a Tuesday. So I will leave that thread open until I podcast, which will be probably, it'll either be on the Thursday if I've managed to go back to normal by then, which will be the 2nd of July. Oh my goodness, that sounds awful, doesn't it? Or it'll be the Saturday, which is the 4th of July. So one of those two I will draw on, but we'll know a bit now. I'll give you some more notice and we'll know nearer the time. I'll close the thread and draw on the podcast. I just noticed that my daughter has got chocolate on my blocking mat. So anyway, that is my cozy memory blanket. So that's it for knitting. I've got a tiny bit of sewing. Do you remember I've been doing my Nikki Franklin sampler? And I've done the first square, which is the whip stitches. Then I did open fly stitch, which those two are my first couple that I did. And then that's my last one. I'm much happier with my last one than the first two. I felt it went much better. And then I'm just now doing long and short stitches, but I didn't do that right. I don't know what I did wrong. It doesn't look right, so I need to re-watch the tutorial or ask a friend to give me a hand on that one. Sherry, if you're watching, help. I need to sort that out. Now, talking of Sherry, the lovely Sherry Iris, who is a great friend and I adore, is doing a stitch along for embroidery, and we're going to stitch cow parsley, and I'm going to do mine down the side of here. Now Nikki encourages you to decorate this once you're finished, so that you just practice stitches. So I'm sure she would be delighted. I'm going to do some cow parsley down the side, and then I'm probably going to do something else down that side. But I'm going to take part in Sherry's stitch along. I'm going to, because my biggest downfall is I cannot draw. I cannot draw to save my life. Now Sherry's done a template which you can put against a window and then put your fabric on top, and you can just trace it. Unfortunately it's a bit big for what I want on here. So I'm going to get my lovely daughter, and I hope this isn't cheating. I need to talk to Sherry about it. But I'm going to get my lovely daughter, who can draw, just to draw it on the design on for me on this side. And I'm going to use the fusion pen, so if she makes a mistake we can just iron it out and start again. But if I get a vlog together, you will see some of her artwork. She's done a painted design on the back of a denim jacket of the Disney castle. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, that is my current now. So this is a sampler by Nikki Franklin, who is the stitchery, and as I said, that's what I worked on, but I'm not happy with it. I didn't get it right. I don't know what I've done. I think part of it is that I wasn't doing it in good enough light, and seeing it in this light, it looks truly awful. I have to say that's really bad. I might unpick that and do that again, or I may leave it as a reminder of this is not how to do it. But yeah, I'll think on that. But maybe I should do it up here. The light's better. But I love this. It's so nice just to have some quiet stitching time at the end of the day. So this week's acquisitions, I have got, let's start with this one. This is last month's, or this month's, April's Scrappy Project Club from Willy Goodness. So if you've not got yours yet, please do look away. That is the card that comes with it. She's not doing May because she's having to isolate. But let's hope that when we're out of all this, she'll be able to come back and we can all support her by buying loads of these, because this is absolutely gorgeous. And this is inspired by a garden in Bergen where she went on a cruise around the Norwegian Fjords last April. And that is the photo. I love these photos, Jenny, by the way. I'm popping them in my diary. And it comes with this beautiful little stitch marker, or progress keeper. I do love it when they're on these earring backs, because you can use it for either, and they're my favourite back for a progress keeper or stitch marker. Right, and I'm now going to show you the minis, so definitely if you've not seen or got yours yet, look away, because these are absolutely gorgeous. Look at those. So keep an eye, if you don't follow Jenny, who is Willy Goodness, on Instagram, subscribe to her Instagram, because she will pop up when she's next dyeing them. So the next thing I blame Grace of Babbles Travelling Yarns for. If you know, you may know if you're a long-term viewer that I'm really good friends with her, and that we did a balloon meet together in September last year. And she was doing an Instagram live and showed this book. So this is Cat Knits by Captain Berg, who's Marina Gilligan. And it's a book of cat knitting patterns. She's of the did the Sinister Catigan, and this is the one that absolutely sold it for me, that I would love to do, and I'm hoping I can. It's the Tiny Cat cardigan. Isn't that lovely? I want that. I would wear that all the time. I mean, I guess if you're not into cats, you could still make that and just not do the catnip motif. There's so many pretty patterns in here. It's an absolutely lovely book. It's beautifully photographed. It's got the gorgeous kind of grainy paper, which I absolutely adore. There's so many other pretty patterns in here. I like this one as well, which is the pretty Pawsome cat cow. So I love this book, and if I don't ever get around to knitting anything out of it, it's actually really pretty to look at. But I do want to knit that cardigan. My only hesitation is that it's knitting around and steeped, which means I'll either A, ignore that and just knit it in the round and keep it as a jumper, which actually is probably not a bad idea. What sort of neck did it have on it? Ooh, I might be tempted to do that. I could do that actually. I could just knit it in the round and keep it as a jumper. Or I will knit it flat and not join it in the round, because I do not like the idea that I would be steeking something. My skill set is not there for steeking yet. I'm not a good enough crocheter to do a crochet reinforcement, and I'm not a good enough sewer to do a sewing reinforcement, so I think that could be a recipe for disaster. So I'd either try and knit it flat, or I would keep it as a jumper. But yeah, so that is the Cat Knits 16 Pawsome knitting patterns for yarn and cat lovers. So that was one of my purchases this week, and the other thing is the Lay Family Yarn Walkies Club. So if you've not had this month's Walkies Club, please look away. Again, it's so cute. There we go. Isn't that lovely? And it's called A Pheasant's Make Jeff Jump. I did query this name with Kenny. Apparently they do like to fly at him, bless him. Sort of fly out the hedgerows at him. I love that mini. That mini is really pretty. So I'm looking forward to knitting these. Meg's already seen it and wants the yarn, the main skein. I'm like, okay, well, I might have to split the difference, and I'll make myself some jelly rolls and make her some shorties in it, because there'd be enough yarn to do that. But yeah, that's very pretty, isn't it? So that's the Walkies Club. And the other one I have is the April Mini Skein Club, which is Percy the Park Keeper. So if you've not had that one, look away. There we go. So pretty. I've got better light this week. I've definitely got better light this week. So I really like those. You can look back now. So that's my acquisitions. My acquisitions are slowing down dramatically. I have got something else from Kelly that's sitting in quarantine, because we quarantine everything for 72 hours. And I have a mystery package that looks like it should be from Sherry Iris, but I'm not aware that I have anything on order from Sherry. So, well, I do, but they wouldn't have arrived because I only ordered it last night. So it can't be that. So I've got two things. I've definitely got a couple of things for next week's podcast. Right, so that's it. So last but not least, life stuff. We're all fine. That's the main thing. Everybody's well. We've got... It's just been normal. Absolutely normal. Everybody's working. It's only Meg and Dan that are on furlough. The rest of us are all still working. Charlie and me from home. Kate's out and about, as is Reese. Ian is getting out and about on his bike a little bit. He's not going far. He rides around our local airfield, which is literally just behind you. You can see it. It's just there. So he's feeling a lot better for going out and about and doing that. So he's obviously socially distancing, but he's feeling a little bit better, being able to get out and ride his bike. Otherwise, there's not much to tell you. We've done our first Brownie and Guide Zoom meeting, which went really well. I was anxious about it all day. My anxiety has the weirdest of outlets. The silly things I get anxious about, but I was really anxious about that all day. And then once I did it, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. So hopefully next time I won't be anxious. I think it's just anything new, isn't it? Meg and I have been watching. Andrew Lloyd Webber has done The Show Must Go On YouTube channel, and he's released a few different shows on there, and I don't know whether he's going to carry on doing it. He'd certainly done it during the first 3 weeks of lockdown, and last night's was Love Never Dies, and we watched that together. Yeah, okay, it's nowhere near as good as Phantom. From the song Love Never Dies onwards, it's really good. That's perhaps not one of my favourite ones, but we did watch Phantom and that last weekend, and that was absolutely fab. That was really good. We really enjoyed that. So it's been fun watching those, and the Royal Shakespeare Theatre are doing them as well. I think Hamlet's this week. I think it was Hamlet. It's really good. It's just great that people that wouldn't normally be able to get to see these shows can actually see them. I think that's absolutely amazing. Otherwise, today I am going to edit the rest of this. I'm going to try to put together a vlog, whether it will go on the end of this or whether it will go, will appear next week. I don't know. I've got this kind of bizarre idea that I would do the podcast on a Saturday and then try and put a vlog together for midweek. I'll get back to you on that. Yeah, otherwise I don't think I've got anything planned this week. It's our wedding anniversary tomorrow, but we're kind of postponing celebrating that one for a few weeks. We're supposed to have been in we were supposed to be in Shoreham today. We would have gone for a meal at our favourite restaurant yesterday. We were going to be in Shoreham today, and then we were going to stay overnight locally down there and go to another restaurant tomorrow for our wedding anniversary, and then we were going to go and spend a week on the east coast of the UK in Suffolk and Norfolk, travelling around and seeing some friends, but that didn't happen. So we hadn't booked, thankfully, and we were just looking into booking when all this happened, so we held off, and then thank goodness we did. But yeah, we're supposed to have been away now, which is, at least the weather's nice, so we can stay at home and enjoy the weather at home. So yeah, it's our wedding anniversary tomorrow, and then the week will just be a normal week, hopefully. Right, I'm going to start babbling now, so I'm going to be quiet. Thank you for commenting down below. Thank you so much for any direct messages I've got. There's a few people that have direct messaged me, and yeah, thank you. Your messages literally make my day. Lorne, I hope you're okay. It blows me away that people watch this at all. So if I'm bringing comfort as well, that's literally just makes my day. It really does. You make my day. You bring me comfort. I love doing the podcast. My family think I'm completely insane, by the way. You want to look at some of the looks I get when I'm talking to myself on the camera, when I'm vlogging. Just if you can see people in the background, just look at the looks I get, because it's hysterical. They're all like, what are you doing? But I love it. I love having this outlet. I love being part of the community. I don't feel that I give as much as I could time-wise, but it's just because I'm so busy at the moment. I was naively thinking that working from home I'd have all this time. I have less time than before. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, as I said, I'm going. So I hope you're all okay wherever you are. Take care, and I'll see you next week.